Hello and welcome to Team Psych Mind in Minutes, the channel that brings you mental health and emotional wellness issues in plain language. I am Tim Godho, a psychologist in Nairobi, Kenya, also a member of the Kenya Psychological Association. We live in an environment that shapes how we see, interpret, and do many things. The law is often said to change slowly, but no one can deny that the Constitution of 2010 has changed the way that we see, interpret, and do many things. In that instance, the law has been ahead of us and guided us as we go through change. Today, as part of Suicide Prevention Month, we are turning to the law. How does the law apply to suicide? Does it help us? And if so, how? To help us navigate this important conversation, I am joined by a special guest, Dr. Naomi Njuguna. Dr. Njuguna holds a Bachelor of Laws degree and a Master of Laws degree from Manchester University. She also holds a PhD specializing in health law from Leicester University, all in the United Kingdom. She is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and is a senior lecturer at the University of Nairobi, Faculty of Law, where she teaches health law to law students and to medical students as well. She will tell us what else she teaches, and obviously, as a senior lecturer, she researches, she publishes, and does many other things within that scope. And Dr. Naomi will tell us what she does. Dr. Naomi Njuguna, when I look at you as a psychologist, I see a mind very well utilized. I also see law oozing all over from you, and I hope you will be able to help us. So please introduce yourself and get us started on the subject of suicide and the law. Up to you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. And hello, viewers. As Tim has said, my name is Naomi Njuguna. So more to what he has said, I'm also a mother and also a certified professional mediator, mediating in aspects of health and labor disputes. So my other specialization is also in labor law. And it's a great pleasure to be here just to talk about this very sensitive, controversial, but very important issue. And especially as we look at it in the month of September, which is Suicide Prevention Month. So it's a real honor to be here, Tim.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I think to get us started is what you have asked about, whether we have a law on suicide or suicide prevention in Kenya. And the answer to that is that as of January this year, there was a High Court ruling. We will come to discuss what that High Court ruling is all about. But what it did, it decriminalized or rendered unconstitutional the law that has been there, which is under Section 226 of the Penal Code of this country.
Yes.
And the crime under 226 was not suicide, but attempted suicide. Maybe I can give some context to this. We were colonized, by the British, and this particular law in 226 is actually a colonial relic. It's a colonial law, and how it came to be is in England, the crime that was actually punished at first was the crime of suicide. Not even attempted suicide, but suicide. And this was around the 1400s, the late 1400s, when King Edward I made an edict that anybody who died by suicide, their property had to be forfeited to the crown. And so it left the family of this particular deceased very destitute, and they had to now appeal to the mercy of the king to restore the property back. So the issue is that the person who has died by suicide is being punished, and their family is being punished because of this act that they have done. I think it may have had to do a lot with also the issue of the church and state, that the church and state were highly intertwined, so that even burial rights for the person who died by suicide were not proper Christian burial rights. They were taken to a crossroads, they were dumped in a pit. Their bodies had to be pinned down with a stake inside that pit. It's as though you can never rise again. And there was no mourning, no prayers. So it was really an undignified way of dealing with this. So in the 1800s, they did away now with the law of forfeiture of property and the law of burying at the crossroads at night. And so now it became a crime without sanction, a crime without punishment. And they decided to change it from suicide to attempted suicide. So it was a way also of controlling, the government or the state controlling the public, that, the manner in which you conduct yourself should be in a moral way and should not be deemed to be against the values of Christianity or the values of the church. So by the time the British were coming to colonize us, the crime had already changed from the crime of suicide to the crime of attempted suicide, which is a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor is a less serious offense. It's the way the penal code says a misdemeanor is not a felony. So a felony is something that is serious. You can be imprisoned for more than 7 years or life imprisonment. So usually a misdemeanor is, we call it a crime ya kiatu ndogo. Yes.
What's the penalty? What was the penalty?
So the penalty can be up to 2 years. Yes. So at the moment, that is what the law says. It says imprisonment is for 2 years for those who attempt suicide. But as I said, that was considered, we call it decriminalization, but essentially what it means is that the High Court ruling that was delivered in January this year rendered this provision of law unconstitutional. And so therefore we can say that right now we should not criminalize any person who attempts suicide.
How final was that decriminalization? You said it is the High Court that ruled that way. How final is that?
So in terms of finality, because there has been no challenge, there has been no appeal to this particular ruling, and I don't believe there will be, because I think the spirit in which the country is moving, and indeed in which Parliament is moving, is that we actually need to decriminalize this. I remember during COVID time, there was a task force that was set up by the then president, Uhuru, and this task force stated that, it made the recommendation that we should not treat persons who have suicidal behaviors or suicidal ideation as criminals. They should actually be treated as people who have an illness that needs to be dealt with by professionals within the mental health sector.
So the High Court has ruled that it is no longer criminal.
It is unconstitutional. That is unconstitutional. To criminalize.
That's right. Did it change? Was there a statute or what was it? Has that been changed?
No, so the law has not yet been changed, but I am aware that the National Assembly has received a petition, I think by Professor Lukoye, I'm hoping I'm saying it right, who has made a petition. There's been a petition to actually change the law. You know, it's not enough to have the court declare it unconstitutional but not change it in the statute books.
Okay.
So there is a petition in Parliament, and I believe Parliament is convinced about this, and very soon we shall see the change. But I think maybe what you're asking, not so many words, is what is the import, you know, in terms of can somebody still be charged, you know, with this offense? What then would happen in such a case? Number one, I think it would be remiss of any person, police officer, to charge to charge somebody under this if they are aware of this High Court ruling.
Okay.
Now, if they are not aware, let's give them, you know, let's say that they are not aware, and somebody then is charged.
Yeah.
Then the magistrate, because most of these cases are handled at the magistrate's level, the magistrate would be bound by the High Court ruling that this particular provision is unconstitutional, and therefore should not receive or allow a plea in this particular case. The person should now just be taken to a mental health facility for therapy and treatment.
Okay. So as far as you sit, this is okay. The rest is procedure.
The rest is procedure.
Okay.
Yes.
Very well. How does law get communicated? Because I am thinking there are very many players in the mental health area. And we will come to that later. But how do we get to communicate that so that everyone knows that? Yeah.
I think a forum like this is very important, where we are actually disseminating the current status of the law regarding this issue of suicide and attempted suicide. But I think more can be done. A lot of advocacy, sensitization, creation of awareness by the various groups, including your organization, you know, the Psychiatric Association of Kenya, the media, you know, so it needs a multi-sectoral approach, including going to the grassroots and educating law enforcement at the grassroots level, like the chiefs, you know, and just the public in terms of mental health awareness. And that, because one of the challenges I think would also be the stigmatization that this particular topic brings about, so that at some grassroots levels, families and communities, if they are not aware about this, they can still continue treating people who have suicidal behaviors or ideation, or even who have attempted suicide, as people who require you know, who should be stigmatized. In fact, in some communities they are completely shunned, and they are even seen to maybe even have demon possession and so on and so forth. So just we need a collaborative approach to disseminate this information.
That's right. And you see, when we used to charge a person, we didn't charge the demon.
No. That is so true. Where is the demon who caused it? So
the one who caused it was not anywhere
exactly
to be incarcerated and to be charged and taken to court. So I think that's really good. Just as a matter of interest, the law as it was, and going back to what you have explained about England, is that first of all, the person who died by suicide, his family suffered as a result of the crime, not in compensation to other people, but the family, because that particular crime had been committed. And then the other thing is that now it is the person who survives a suicide attempt. Do you have other crimes where a family and dependents are punished for the, you know, for that crime committed by the person who has died? One, or where it is worse to survive a crime than than to go through and succeed with it.
Okay, so in answer to your first question, in this country, I mean, and I don't think in any country, the survivors of a person who has died by suicide would be punished for that, unless they assisted, because what is in our statute books at the moment is that assisting in suicide is still a crime, and it's actually now a felony, because the person will be liable to life imprisonment. So it's actually more serious to assist a person in suicide than it is for somebody to have attempted suicide. So, so unless the family member or any other person assists or counsels another person to commit suicide, or procures, provides the equipment or whatever means for that person to not to die by suicide, then there would be a crime. But otherwise, the family would not be punished. But you've raised an interesting point, because the way I see the law and its approach, it is very centered around the person, who has attempted suicide or who has suicide ideation or behavior. So it seeks a lot to protect that person. But I think studies have shown that if, say, a person succeeds and actually dies by suicide, the family, the ones who are left behind, would now fall into a cycle of also depression, and maybe there would be a likelihood of a cycle of that suicide ideation and behavior. And so strategies that are put in place to deal with people who have suicidal behaviors and tendencies should also apply to any family members and close friends and communities who are affected by a person who dies by suicide. But at the moment, the focus is mainly on the person who survives the suicide attempt.
Okay. That's interesting, what you said about assisting.
Yes.
And I'm seeing two scenarios here. One is a person assists and the person who was assisted dies, unfortunately. The other one is a person assists and the person survives.
Yes.
How different is that? Is it the same penalty?
It would be the same penalty. Because you are procuring somebody. Even if the person, the outcome of that counsel or the outcome of that procurement or assistance does not materialize, you will still be charged with the same, with the same crime under section, I think, 225 of the Penal Code. You will still be charged with that crime of assisting.
I hope our audience are listening very carefully, that if you assist anyone to procure suicide in any way, whether they live or die, you could be imprisoned for life. And there was a recent media issue of someone who assisted. Do you have any details?
I think, so without mentioning names, I think there was some, video that was circulating, which I think caused a lot of distress to many viewers who are seeing this, and even to the family of the person who eventually died by the suicide attempt. And it was a husband and wife situation, and the husband was just sitting there and saw the wife ingesting, a noxious substance that would actually have led to her death. And he didn't do anything. I think at some point he was even, kind of mocking her and telling her to go ahead and do it, which caused, as I said, a lot of distress. And she finally, succumbed. And so that man should actually be charged with this particular offense. Yes, so I'm not sure whether he was. I may have to go dig into what has happened since then, because not much information has come from that incident.
Okay, but I think it's important what you are saying.
Yes.
When I was growing up, many years ago, there was when a person wanted death by suicide, and they said it, the family would sort of tease them and say, "Here is a rope. What do you need? You know, go and do it."
Yeah.
So those kind of utterances and assistance could actually lead someone to prison for life.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yet they were seeing it as though it is a way to deter this person,
Yes.
maybe from going ahead with the attempt.
Okay.
But yet, if the person went ahead and did it, then they would be liable to be charged for that offense.
Okay. We will come back and talk about suicide and the law. Continue. Do you have any other comments on the law itself? We will come to the effect. We will come to the effect on other people. Do you have some closing comments to this part?
Okay, so without first commenting on the case, which I think we will discuss shortly, but one of the things I would like to point out, maybe as a weakness in our law, is that the term suicide has actually not been defined straight. In fact, in section 226, let me call it the impugned section 226. It just says a person who attempts to kill themselves. So the assumption is suicide is killing of oneself, but I mean, it doesn't go into detail about in what way would somebody killing of oneself be deemed to be, a suicide. So, for instance, if I refuse to eat and drink water,
yes,
knowing that the outcome, for whatever reason, whether religious persuasion or otherwise, with the full knowledge that by failing to eat, failing to drink, I am actually going to die.
Yeah.
Or if I refuse medical intervention for a condition I know that if I do not receive treatment, I am going to actually die. Would that be considered suicide or attempted suicide? And would that then be categorized as that? I think the law may do well. Our parliamentarians may do well, of course, with the necessary collaborations with the experts in the area to come up with a definitional framework so that it is known what exactly constitutes suicide or attempted suicide. Yeah.
With that, how would you place the plague of extremely dangerous games? Would that be in your question as well? Where do we draw the line?
Yeah, I think, exactly, because even, and as we draw the line between certain activities that are likely to lead to death or to fatal injury, the issues are about also autonomy. And whether, somebody can freely, without interference of the law, get into those kinds of activities which would harm them, leave alone harming others, would harm them, self-harm, and whether the law should intervene in those situations. I think those are some of the controversial aspects when we talk about suicide and attempted suicide. At the moment, as we shall see, the law deems these kind of things as a mental illness, and not necessarily an exercise of autonomy. Yeah.
Wow. Daktari, it's getting hot here. We will take a short break, and when we come back, we will continue with our subject of suicide and the law. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. This has been Team Psych, the channel that brings you mental health and emotional wellness issues in plain language. More truth, less stigma, here on Team Psych.